Holy cow. Little blast from the past today. I was getting Amos to bed tonight, and I was sitting there reading the news and saw that something new had come up about Brian Laundrie. Do y'all remember Brian Laundrie? So we talked a lot about him and about the woman he murdered, Gabby Petito, who was missing for a good bit of time. They were like, she was trying to make it as a vlogger, influencer, and they had taken a van and driven across the country. And he was the one that was filmed. The police had stopped them, and he kind of tried to say she was crazy. It was really terrible, particularly in hindsight. And he murdered her. And at the time, if you'll remember, I talked a lot about his parents. And, people get real nervous when you start talking about parenting, because then they're worried that maybe you're going to get them for their own parenting. And I've always said, I work really hard to raise good children. And if they turn out crappy, I'm not going to feel guilty, because I really can say I've done the best I could. And I mean that. So in this new complaint, it was filed November 30th. The Petitos, who had sued the Laundrie's parents, Brian's parents, Chris and Roberta, they allege that on August 29th, Brian Laundrie called his parents and told them that Gabby was gone in a frantic phone call. Gone. That same day, they called Stephen Bertolino, who is still their attorney to this day. So they called him on August 29th and said that our son has told us Gabby is gone and that Brian needs a lawyer. Brian gets home on September 1st, and on September 2nd, his parents send the attorney a retainer. And along with that, Bertolino, who has also been charged in the case, which, hell yeah, he should be charged. He entered into a fee agreement with a criminal defense firm in Laramie, Wyoming, to represent Laundrie. And he called several attorneys in that area to represent him, including the public defender's office in the county where her body was found. She was found in Grand Teton National Park on September 19th. She was killed by blunt force injuries to the head and neck, and she was strangled. And they believe she was killed on August 27th. So I think this is something we all thought they might have known. But I have 3 sons, 2 teenage sons, 1 little fellow with special needs. And I was thinking, I have a son who's about to be 18. He's going to college next year. And I was thinking, and then I have another son who's 16, and then a daughter who's 14. And so I was trying to think, if Thomas called me and said, Mom, he and his girlfriend, let's fast forward 10 years from now, are on a road trip, and he calls me frantic and says, Mom, I need a lawyer. So-and-so is gone. What would I do? Well, I would ask more questions, for one thing. What do you mean by gone? And why do you need a lawyer? What did you do? Well, things got bad, and I killed her. Okay. Well, we're not going to call a lawyer. What we're going to do is we're going to call the police, because that's what good human beings do. Because I also have a daughter, and at this point, you're screwed, and so you're going to do the right thing. Now, this isn't a driving while license revoked, or maybe, a DUI in the country somewhere. You have murdered another person. So her family sued them for emotional distress in relation to her death on the road trip. And what's really important, I think, in this lawsuit is that, so the Laundrie family had to go, I guess they were subpoenaed, and they admitted that they received this call from Brian Laundrie right after her disappearance. So on August 27th is the day that she was last seen on a video camera. It looked like at a Walmart or something. August 29th, they contact the attorney. By September 1st, he was home. So I have the court document. And I'm just going to read it to you. So it's not the whole thing, but a couple pages. So on August 12th, a call was made to the Grand County, Utah Sheriff's Office regarding an incident unfolding on Main Street in Moab. On the 911 call, a witness told the operator, "We drove by and the gentleman was slapping the girl and we stopped. They ran up and down the sidewalk. He proceeded to hit her, blah, blah, blah." Later that day, August 12th, there were 2 posts on her Instagram account, which everybody believes Brian wrote. On August 17th, and this is really interesting, on August 17th, he flew home to Florida. According to Gabby's mother, the trip was so he and his father could empty the place where he and his girlfriend kept their belongings. And, you know, it's worth noting that his mother has said still to this day, "Where are all Gabby's things?" And his parents have never responded. I just cannot, for the life of me, understand how anyone could be that cruel. So he leaves August 17th. Well, on August 23rd, he comes back. She had been staying at the Fairfield Inn and Suites in Salt Lake City. But so interesting, she did not post one thing on social media. Now, granted, I'm on social media a lot. And, of course, I had a month off, so now I'm like trying to catch back up. If I were in a hotel room alone, which would never happen, I would be on social media all frickin' day, because what else would you do? You'd eat takeout and you'd be on social media. But she wasn't. He gets back August 23rd. On August 24th, at the time, that was the last time we thought she had been seen, but she was seen on August 27th. On August 25th, she spoke to her mother for the very last time. Also on August 25th, she put up an Instagram post, and it was later edited. And I remember at the time seeing that, like, wow, you're freezing. I'm probably not freezing. Your internet might be freezing, because mine is really good. On August 27th, these other travel bloggers, Jen and Kyle Bethune, saw their Ford Transit van and said it looked like it had been abandoned on the side of the road. Also on that day, her mother got this text from her daughter's phone, which now it's been admitted that Brian admitted he had written it. And it said, "Can you help Stan? I keep getting his voicemails and missed calls." Who was Gabby's grandfather. And her mother was like, he never called him Stan. She never called him Stan. On August 29th, they picked him up. Mine is freezing. Everybody's is freezing. Oh my God. It's like being in an HE double hockey sticks. Okay. Go to my office. I walk through the fraternity house here. It's like the fraternity house of toys and cats, dogs, and mess, plants. Gosh, cat toys. Okay, well, if it freezes in here, y'all are out of luck, because this is the best I got. I'm basically sucking in the modem. So he's hitchhiking. He's hitchhiking on August 29th. And on that day, he gets out of the car after 30 minutes. Like they said, He just jumps out of the car. On August 30th, her mom gets a text that says no service in Yosemite. And I guess you can send a text when there's no service, but it seems odd. So on September 1st, he got back home in Florida to his parents' house. And so at this point, his parents send a lawyer money. That lawyer then finds a lawyer in the county where her body is found, calls the public defender there and says, we need a lawyer for this young man here. On September 11th, Gabby's family reported her missing. During those 10 days, they had been calling Brian and his parents regarding Gabby. They kept calling them. And nobody, they wouldn't take their calls. Soon after that, he went for a hike, then he disappeared, and then the parents, found him somewhere. Raise a child to believe that consequences don't apply to them, and I'll show you Brian Laundrie. This was not a mental health issue. When Brian Laundrie arrived home in Gabby's car with no Gabby, his parents showed their true colors. They already had shown their true colors. When they sent frantic text and called, nobody answered. They continued to enable their son, who was raised to be a narcissist and seemingly a killer. On September 27th, their attorney said, Chris and Roberta Laundrie don't know where Brian is. On October 20th, they walked right into the Florida Nature Preserve, zigzagged in different areas, and stumbled upon his dry bag with his body. Now, the police had been looking for, weeks, but his parents just, stumbled upon him. And again, in September, at the time, the lawyer said, it is our understanding that a search has been organized for Miss Petito in or near Grand Teton National Park in Wyoming. On the advice of counsel, the Laundrie family is remaining in the background at this juncture and will have no further comment. Brian had killed her. His parents knew she was dead. The attorney knew she was dead. And none of them had the decency to tell them. I'm telling you, if my adorable son drove up in a car of a young woman he murdered, I would have the police waiting for him with a hog tie. I don't know if a hog tie is something, but I would be like, take him out of here. I'm done with him. And I know you might say, well, it's your son. No, I have a daughter too. I will never put my children ahead to the neglect of other people. Their betterment is not more important than other humans. It's just not. Yeah, there were so many. The interesting thing, so we had a lot of clues that he had murdered her before we knew. When he sent that text on August 30th to her mother from Gabby's phone that said no service in Yosemite on August 30th, he was already halfway across the country. So they knew then. His parents never answered a phone call. He never called the police, later when he said, oh, it was an accident. No. He never answered questions from the police, which I know it's his right. I'm married to a criminal defense attorney, but I'm going to listen to my mother. My mother would say, if you tell the truth, you don't have so much to remember. Well, his attorney couldn't ethically say anything to his client's detriment. The parents are different. we'd have to ask my husband. That might be a really good subscriber Thomas video. So should the attorney lie and say, we know they're looking for Miss Petito? Why they made this lawsuit, to make them admit the truth. Yeah. Because, you know, he took his own life, not because he had some mental illness. It's because he wanted to be in control. And he took his own life so that ultimately he wouldn't have to answer to anyone. I tell you what, and then the parents are like, people are bothering us. He lawyered up. And again, I'm married to an attorney. But if it were my child, if you're really innocent and you love someone, you would be worried and want to find them. If he really wasn't involved, he would have wanted to find them. Why wouldn't he have spoken to her parents? Why did his parents never look for Gabby or for him? Anyway, there was also hold on, let me look at something here. I got another thing. Photos. Oh. I just cannot believe they called this attorney. Oh, here, this is interesting. On September 1st, Brian Laundrie returned to the home of his parents, driving Gabby Petito's van. At this point in time, there was no contact between Joseph Petito and Nicole Schmidt on the one hand, and Christopher Laundrie and Roberta on the other. From September 10th until the 19th, when Gabby's remains were found at the Spread Creek dispersed camping area in Wyoming, plaintiffs were extremely distraught in attempting to locate Gabby Petito. While Gabby Petito's family was suffering, the Laundrie family went on vacation to Fort DeSoto Park from September 6th and 7th. They went on vacation knowing their son had murdered Gabby Petito, believed that he knew where her body was, and knew that her parents were looking for her. In an effort to avoid any contact with her mother, Roberta Laundrie blocked Nicole Schmidt on her cell phone so that neither phone calls nor texts could be delivered, and she blocked her on Facebook. That might be the worst thing I've ever heard. So Roberta Laundrie, if you're out there watching this, which I doubt you are, I would say the best thing you could do is come clean and apologize and say, I am a piece of dog doo-doo. And I should be held responsible because I've raised a dog doo-doo and it's all on me. You know, I think we're at a point now in our justice system. We had a school shooter whose parents have been charged because they had bought him a weapon. You know, at some point, you have to take responsibility. And I think if they had called the police and said, listen, our son told us this girl's missing, we don't know what to do, nobody would be mad at them, you know? On September 13th, the date Brian Laundrie left his house, so I think they went on this little vacation as like a last hurrah for the son. Brian Laundrie, in a televised interview with Stephen Bertolino, which was October 23rd, Brian Laundrie was grieving. But you grieve when you're sad that somebody has died. He wasn't grieving. Stephen Bertolino released a statement for them on September 14th. This is understandably an extremely difficult time for both the Petito family and the Laundrie family. No. It is our understanding the search has been organized on behalf of the Laundrie family. It is our hope that the search for Miss Petito is successful and that Miss Petito is reunited with her family. Now, I know damn well you can't say something like that. He knew. He knew. That was released and disseminated nationwide, broadcast all over Florida, to literally spread a lie. Golly Moses. They also said Stephen Bertolino engaged in substantial and not isolated activity in the state of Florida, which was continuous and systematic. Yeah, they're really going to get that attorney too. Good. Get him. On September 16th, the attorney of Gabby Petito's family had written a letter to the Laundries. We are writing this letter to ask you to help find our beautiful daughter. We understand you are going through a difficult time and your instinct to protect your son is strong. We ask you to put yourselves in our shoes. We haven't been able to sleep or eat and our lives are falling apart. We believe you know the location of where Brian left Gabby. We beg you to tell us. As a parent, how could you let us go through this pain and not help us? As a parent, how can you put Gabby's younger brothers and sisters through this? Gabby lived with you for a year. She was going to be your daughter-in-law. How can you keep her location hidden? You were both at Jim and Nicole's house. You were both so happy that Brian and Gabby got engaged and were planning to spend their lives together. Please, if you or your family, bless me, have any decency left, please tell us where Gabby is located. Tell us if we are even looking in the right place. All we want is for Gabby to come home. Please help make that happen. But instead, they issue a statement and say, we hope that Gabby will be reunited with her family. And on September 19th, Stephen Bertolino issued a statement the day that her body was found. The news about Gabby Petito is heartbreaking. The Laundrie family prays for Gabby and her family. Bull crap-a-loney. So anyway, Brian Laundrie is gone, never to face the criminal justice system because he is a pussy. And now his parents are left. His parents who have been like, people are standing outside our house. Well, you know what? Maybe finally somebody is going to hold you accountable. Tough luck, Toots. You still could come forward and say, I suck. That's all you have to say. And you're not going to do it. I have zero respect for somebody like that. I can't even imagine how you could have a friend at that point. There's just nothing. That's pretty bad. Pretty darn bad. So anyway, glad to be back on my page. I have missed talking about serious things like this and like real conversations that we need to have. And I think we all feel a little bit impervious, like, well, it would never be us or never be our child. And I don't think that's true. You know, I think it is, I think you can quickly fall into a hole. You know, when my son Thomas, I think it was Thomas or Russell, was about 5, he stole a gift card from a department store. Now, you know that when you take a gift card from a department store, there's no money on it. So it's not really like stealing. But he didn't know that. And I said, where did you get that? And he was like, you know, from the store. It was like a Saks outlet. And I took him right back into the store, you know, had his hand, he's crying, and talked to him about what it means to be a thief. And we found the manager, and he apologized. I mean, his little self was so small. And I said, I love you, but I don't want you to be that person. You're better than that. And another time, my daughter told one of her brothers, well, he hadn't been chosen for homecoming king, and she like threw it in his face. And I was harsh with her and said, you know, don't be that person. Don't be that person. Because it's important. subscriber. See you in the morning with Nurse Gina to do a little rehashing of this and be talking about the next few criminal cases that are on the docket.